Hello viewers, welcome to my channel ITJ Olympiads and AP Physics with Ambarish. And in today's video, I'm feeling very excited to bring you this problem on rotational mechanics from 200 puzzling problems. This is problem number 98. And if you look at the solution in the book, the solution uses 8 unknowns and 8 equations. And the moment you get to know that there are 8 unknowns and 8 equations, you don't even feel like solving the problem. So the challenge here is to do this problem in as less number of unknowns as possible. And you can try out this problem and then you can have a look at my solution, that how many unknowns I am using. So I'll be presenting a very elegant solution to this one. And apart from that, I would also like to tell you that one of the answers given in the book to this problem is wrong. For one part, the answer given is wrong. There's a mistake, and there's also a mistake in one of the equations. So I'll get into the problem, and if you want, you can try it out. It'll be a lot of fun, and I'm sure you are going to enjoy my solution after doing your own solution for this one. So let me read out the problem. So in a physics stunt, two balls of equal density and radii r and capital R equal to 2r are placed with the center of the larger one at the middle of a cart of mass capital M is equal to 6 kg. So this is the cart, and this is exactly at the middle of the cart, okay, and the length of the cart is 2 meters. So this length is 2 meter, and this is exactly at the middle, okay. The mass of the smaller ball is M equal to 1 kg. So this is 1 kg ball. The balls are made to roll without slipping in such a way that the larger ball rests on the cart and a straight line connecting their centers remains at a constant angle phi equal to 60 degree to the horizontal. So this angle remains at 60 degree always, okay. The cart is pulled by horizontal force in the direction shown in the figure. We have to find the magnitude of this force F and how much time elapses before the balls fall off the cart. This is the problem, and I hope you understood the problem properly. So balls are rolling without slipping. So this ball is also rolling and this ball is rolling on top of this, but the line joining the two balls remains at an angle of phi with the horizontal. So you can pause the video and try out your solution, and then please do look at my solution also, how I have done this problem, okay. I'll get into my analysis right away. Okay, so before I do the analysis, let me tell you what this problem has got a potential to get complicated. Why? Because if you are not very elegant in making the equations, you can have so many unknowns. Normal reaction here, friction here, normal reaction here, friction here, then alpha of this ball, then alpha of this ball, and then acceleration of this. Of course F is there, and so many unknowns can be there. So I didn't want to do it that way, so I gave it a little deep thought, and I was able to do it in very less number of unknowns. So let's see how I have done. So what was my solution strategy? First is relate the alpha of two balls using the condition that this line remains straight and at an angle of phi all the time, and there is no slipping over here, okay. So if you look at from the center of this bigger ball, the tangential acceleration, suppose this acceleration is alpha angular acceleration, so this has got a tangential acceleration of 2r alpha, and therefore since there is no slipping, this point on the smaller ball should also have tangential acceleration of 2r alpha, but its radius is r, so its angular acceleration must be 2 alpha. So simple thing I can use directly, that if this is rotating with alpha, this must be rotating with 2 alpha, okay. So first thing I wanted to do was relate the alpha of both balls using no slip condition, okay. Then I want to make tau is equal to dl by dt about point A for the system of two cylinders. It should be spheres. By mistake I wrote cylinder, should be spheres, okay, for system of two spheres, okay. So what is the advantage of writing tau is equal to dl by dt about this point? See, the moment I want to write torque about this equation, and I am considering the system as a whole, so I need not worry about the internal normal reaction and the internal friction over here. Moreover, I do not even need to worry about this friction and this normal reaction. So when I am writing torque equation about point A, I will just take pseudo forces in the frame of the cart, and then I'll write just tau is equal to dl by dt, and very carefully avoiding all the normal reactions and frictions, okay. So this is what I'm going to use. And then for the smaller cylinder, I'll make the equation about point B, I'll go in the frame of B, which is the lowest point of the touching point of the two cylinders, and then I'll write tau is equal to I alpha, but knowing well that this is a non-inertial frame, so I'll have to apply pseudo forces from the frame of B. Okay, so for the smaller, again it should be not cylinder, it should be sphere. Let me write sphere again, smaller sphere. Okay, in excitement I'm just messing up sphere and cylinders. Okay, but in the solution, of course, I've taken the right moments of inertia. Okay, this process avoids introduction of many unknowns like normal reactions and frictions at various places. Okay, now recall that angular momentum is m times RCM cross VCM plus ICM times omega. This is the angular momentum about any general axis, and if you just differentiate this equation, what you can write is dl by dt is equal to m times RCM cross ACM, because RCM cross VCM you differentiate by product rule. One term will be VCM cross VCM, which will be 0, right, and the other term will be RCM cross ACM, and ICM times omega becomes ICM times alpha on differentiation, and dl by dt is also equal to the torque. Okay, and as I told you earlier, since there is no slipping at point B, R alpha, capital R alpha is equal to small r into alpha dash. That gives you alpha dash is equal to 2 alpha. So this is 2 alpha and this is alpha. Okay, so now we are ready to make the equations. Also, since the internal torques in any system cancel out, we can modify the equation 2 for the systems also. So we can write total summation of external torques is equal to sigma mi times RCMI cross ACMI, where I is the ith body, and plus ICMI times alpha I. See, this equation I can write for system also. Okay, and that's what I am going to do exactly. Okay, now let us consider the system of two spheres from the frame of point A. From this point I am seeing fixed on the cart. The blue arrow represents the pseudo forces. So if the cart is going with A, so this is pseudo force MA, 8 MA, and this is the pseudo force MA. So I want to write the torque equation about point A. See, so 8 MA into 2R, this is the torque of this pseudo force. Okay, and plus MA, and you look at its arm, so this much is 2R, and this is your 3R sin phi, because this distance is 3R. Okay, so this distance is 3R, so this vertical is 3R sin phi, and this is 2R. So MA into 3R sin phi plus 2R. So this is the torque for the pseudo force on the upper sphere. Okay, and apart from that there will be torque of mg. So what is the perpendicular distance of mg from this? So this distance is 3R, so this is 3R cos phi. So minus mg into 3R cos phi, minus sign because it's in the opposite direction. Okay, so this is torque, and this should be equal to m times RCM cross ACM plus ICM times alpha. And since I am applying it to system, so I have to do it for both the spheres. So for the first sphere, this is m becomes 8m times RCM becomes now 2R times ACM becomes 2R alpha. So this is m times RCM cross ACM for the bigger sphere, and plus ICM. So ICM is 2 by 5 mr square. So instead of m I have to put 8m. Why 8m? Because densities are same, and therefore radius is 1:2, so volumes are in 1:8 ratio, and therefore I'm directly using 8m. Okay, that's pretty obvious. So 2 by 5 into 8m into 2R square. So this becomes ICM times alpha. Okay, so this is for the first sphere, and then I also need to write the same kind of terms for second sphere. So for the second sphere, m is m of course, and RCM perpendicular becomes now this is 3R, so this is 3R sin phi, and this is 2R, so 3R sin phi plus 2R. So this is m times RCM cross VCM and cross ACM, and ACM is 2R alpha. Why? Because this line is in its orientation and the whole thing is moving related to cart with 2R alpha. Because of pure rolling, I can write this is going with 2R alpha and this one is also going with 2R alpha. Okay, so m times RCM cross ACM and plus ICM times alpha. Now since this alpha is in the opposite sense, see, this sphere is in anti-clockwise sense and this sphere will be then clockwise sense, then only no slipping condition will be met at point B, and therefore there should be a minus sign over here. See, other terms they are anti-clockwise terms, and this 2 alpha is clockwise, therefore ICM times alpha becomes minus 2 by 5 mr square into 2 alpha. So I hope this equation 5 is clear. And if you see, this equation has got only two unknowns. It has got only A and it has got alpha, and everything else is unknown. So it is, and moreover it's not quadratic, it's not trigonometric equation in A and alpha, it's just a linear equation in A and alpha. So of course we can simplify, we can combine the terms, but this is just a linear in A and alpha. Okay, so there are only two unknowns in this equation. Okay, now I have done some simplification, but I'll skip the simplification. Just keep in mind that this is just a linear equation in two variables, and it can be simplified very easily. It's not trigonometric, it's not transcendental, it's just a linear. Okay, now let us consider the smaller sphere from the frame of point B. So if you sit on point B of this sphere, this becomes the instantaneous axis, and then I need to consider the pseudo forces. Okay, so we will carefully consider the acceleration of point B correctly to evaluate the pseudo forces. Let C be the center of the larger sphere. So this is C is the center of the larger sphere. What is its acceleration from the ground frame? So from Planck it is 2r alpha, and Planck itself is going with A to the right. I mean, a card is going with A, and this is 2r alpha relative to the card. So the acceleration of point C is 2r alpha minus A in this direction. Okay, but point B is also moving relative to C. From ground frame, the motion of point B is nothing but motion of C plus motion of B as seen from point C. So from frame of C, B has got centripetal and tangential acceleration. However, we shall write the torque equation about point B, and therefore pseudo force to account for centrifugal acceleration, centripetal acceleration will not matter. See, centripetal acceleration will be along this line only, and accordingly the pseudo force corresponding to centripetal acceleration will also pass through this line, so it will not contribute anything to the torque about point B. So I'll just need to find the tangential acceleration of B. So relative to C, tangential acceleration of B will be 2r alpha in this direction, right? And C has got an acceleration 2r alpha and minus A in this direction. So let's see how to apply the pseudo forces. Okay, so I'm not worrying about centripetal acceleration because it's anyway pseudo force of to corresponding to this will not contribute to torque about the point B, and tangential acceleration point B relative to C is 2r alpha as I showed in this direction. So this direction 2r alpha, so I've shown arrow like this. Okay, and net acceleration of B is superposition of acceleration of B is acceleration of C plus acceleration of B as seen from point C. Okay, and therefore pseudo force on the center of smaller sphere should be equal to m times negative of this, right? So m minus m times AC and minus m times A BC. Okay, simple logic. Okay, so instead of finding the resultant of these two pseudo forces, I am applying the two pseudo forces separately. So minus m times AC. Okay, set C had an acceleration of 2r alpha minus A here, so it is having a pseudo force will be m times 2r alpha minus A to the right. Okay, okay, and this is corresponding to the acceleration of the bigger sphere, and then there was relative acceleration of point B relative to center of the bigger sphere, and that was 2r alpha. So corresponding to that there is another pseudo force m into 2r alpha. I hope you understood the two pseudo forces, because the acceleration was superposition of two accelerations, so pseudo forces also I'm applying two separate pseudo forces instead of combining them into single one. And now I'm going to write torque equation about point B. So now point B is the instantaneous axis, and I can write tau is equal to I alpha. Okay, and phi was the angle with the horizontal, and with vertical, therefore this angle is going to be phi. So so this pseudo force m into 2r alpha, the torque is m into 2r alpha into r, because this distance is going to be r with B, perpendicular distance, and plus m into 2r alpha minus A, this is the other pseudo force, and its arm is r sin phi. Okay, this becomes r sin phi. Why? Because this angle is 90 minus phi, and this becomes then r sin phi. Okay, and for mg the arm is r cos phi, and this should be equal to what? I alpha about this instantaneous axis. Okay, and I becomes 7 by 5 r square, and alpha is 2 alpha for this. So this is the second equation. Again, look at this equation. This equation again, it's just a linear, no transcendental, no trigonometric, just a linear equation with only two unknowns, A and alpha. Okay, so I have, considering equation number 11, this is also having only two unknowns, A and alpha, and the other equation was equation number 5. This also has got two unknowns, A and alpha, and just two equations and two unknowns I can solve easily for A and alpha. So I'll just straight away get to the solution. If you solve for A and alpha, this is what you get for A and alpha, and then you can evaluate their value for phi is equal to pi by 3 and g is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. If you put that, the value of A will come out to be 9.191, and alpha r will, I'm interested in alpha r rather than alpha itself. So if you take this r there and calculate alpha r, it comes out to be 3.282. Okay, and now the time of fall. So recall that the sphere started with the middle of the cart. So this distance is not L, this distance is just L by 2, and the acceleration relative to cart is 2r alpha, right? So s is equal to half at square if we put, because it started from rest. So L by 2 is equal to half, and acceleration is 2 alpha r into t square, and that will give you t is equal to under root of L by 2 r alpha, and that's if you take 2 alpha r, then this becomes not 7.6, this will be in fact I earlier I had taken g equal to 10, but whatever. So this will come out to be, I have done it using calculator, so let me use the calculator again. So this comes out to be, okay, 1 divided by okay, 3.282 into 2 and whole under root. So whatever is the answer, so I just need to take under root of the answer, and if you calculate this, this comes out to be 390.3 milliseconds. Okay, so final answer I have written as correct. I forgot to convert this expression, and this was not 3.28 into 2, that's about 7.56. So no, not 7.6.56, so approximately 6.6, or you can say, so let me correct this, this should be 6.56. okay, and this if you calculate, this comes to be 0.39 seconds. Answer given in the book is root 2 times 0.39, that's about 0.55, which is root 2 times this. That means while calculating the answer, instead of taking L by 2, they have taken L. That would have been the answer if the arrangement started from the beginning of the card, but the question clearly says that the arrangement started from the middle of the card, so this should have been L by 2 and instead of L. So that's the mistake in the book answer. Instead of 0.55, this should be 0.39 seconds. Okay, and then external force is now easy to calculate using the concept of center of mass. We know that external force is equal to sigma mi ai for any system, right? So mass of the cart is 6 kg, so 6 into acceleration we found 9.191. okay, so 6 into 9.191 plus, now this is 8m and this is m, and m is 1 kg, so total mass becomes 9 kg, and the acceleration of this becomes what? A minus 2r alpha, right? So A is 9.191 and 2r alpha is 6.564. So if you calculate this, this comes out to be 78.789 Newton, and the book gives an answer of 79, approximately 79, which is also correct. So this part answer is correct, but in the other part the given answer is wrong. So that was my analysis of this problem. I am feeling very happy after doing this analysis, because I have a feeling that I could do better than the book solution, or maybe, I mean, it's up to you how you feel about it, but I personally felt thrilled that I was able to do it in just 2 equations and 2 variables, whereas the book did it in 8 equations and 8 variables. So I hope you liked my solution, and if you did like my solution, please do give it a thumbs up, and please share this solution as much as possible in your academic groups through WhatsApp or Telegram or whatever academic media you use for networking with your friends. And most importantly, if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel, because that's what keeps me motivated to solve new questions and bring more and more concept videos for all of you. So thanks a lot for watching this video. Please keep coming back to my channel for more awesome stuff, and see you in the next video. God bless you all.